Good evening. A warm welcome to everybody who's joined today's session. Good evening, Ram sir. So our session today is briefly going to be around cybercrime ecosystem. A brief introduction about AntWak. We started off as a very small company wherein we were compiling micro videos with real professionals across multiple domains, including cybersecurity, digital marketing, product management, so on and so forth. And today we have one of our experts, in-house experts, Ram sir, who has been our first opening batsman for our first boot camp or our pilot boot camp. So we had our pilot boot camp, which is still in progress, and we almost at the end of it. And Ram sir has been responsible for a couple of the topics. One of them around introduction to cybersecurity and the cybercrime ecosystem, and the other one around governance, risk, and compliance, or what we call as GRC. So AntWak started off as a company hosting micro videos, and today we are having boot camps across multiple disciplines. And we have real professionals like Ram sir coming up with different specialties, and they bring in all their expertise so that it becomes more of like a live interaction about you understanding how the industry works today. And AntWak is trying to be a platform for those wishes to come true. A quick introduction about today's agenda. So we're going to be briefly touching base about cybersecurity touchpoints, the need for it, different domains within cybersecurity, and then we'll have a couple of polls and quizzes, and then we'll conclude the session with a couple of interesting insights around the deep and the dark web. A short introduction about our guest speaker today, Ram sir. I have had the privilege to interview him when we were compiling the videos. I've worked with him when it's come to the boot camp part of it, and I can say nothing short of a plethora or an ocean of knowledge, because I personally have gained a lot of information with his help through him and his expertise that he carries. And about him in person, I just want to give a brief about him. Ram, if you could just skim through the slide to the Ram, are you there? Yep, thank you. The next slide, please. Ram, can you go to the next slide, please? Yep, thank you. So if you look at this, that's 2+ decades of experience. Began from United Online, and he's worked with the biggest of brands you name, Xerox, Society General, Philips, so on and so forth, to just mention a bit of it. And his expertise has been through IT, ITES, BFSI, media and entertainment, healthcare, R&D, and automotive. And to a bit and bits and pieces about his academic qualification. Ram, the next slide, please. Hello. Yep. Thank you. So if you see, he's finished off his PhD in the information security domain, and he has had multiple alliances with the Stanford leadership program course. He's finished off his MBA from the Edith Cowan University. And when it comes to his core competencies, he's been majorly involved in GRC programs, including the ISO 27001 GDPR, payment card industry, TSS, SOX, GLBA, HIPAA, to name a few. Also, he has a wide range of certifications, not limited to CISM, CRISP, CE Edge, ISO 27001, CCNA, so on and so forth. He's also had a lot of accolades to his name. He's been recognized at the top 50 global cybersecurity professionals across risk and privacy. He's been also been the top 100 influencers around the CISO platform. And he has also been named around in the next 100 CIO award for in the year 2018. And apart from that, he's been a mentor for a lot of learners, for a lot of go-getters, and it's nothing short of a great privilege to have him on board. So without any further delay, I'd like to get the platform to Ram sir. Ram sir, warm welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Kaushik, for a warm introduction. It was pretty long. I'm very much thankful to you. Can I share my screen so that I have control?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it. I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, you can stop sharing. Please confirm once you can see my screen.
It's visible, sir.
Okay, and I see some folks waiting in the room. Can you allow them? So that, or do they get admitted on their own?
Yep, I'll take care of it, sir.
Okay,
No, I'm
awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So good evening, one and all. I'm very happy to AntWak for inviting me over for this masterclass, and I'm happy to share whatever knowledge I have and experience I have on the cyber crime topic. Years ago, way back in 2005, I wrote a book called Cyber Crimes. Those days, it was very nascent industry. Not many of folks, even in IT industry, knew about cyber crimes. My first job was with a US company called United Online, and that's where I cut my teeth in cybersecurity and specifically into different sorts of cyber crimes. So that experience stood me in good stead, and that helped me to write a primer. It was nothing great technical, a primer for any lay person to understand different kinds of cyber crimes and how they can safeguard themselves when they go online. So that I thought I will just highlight. This session, let us keep it light. Of course, this is not a training session, it's an awareness session. So we will talk about all these topics, what you see. I'm not gonna read out each of them. And we will be intermittently, we will have short breaks to, for the polls, the quizzes, there will be an announcement by AntWak for the boot camp, right? So please participate enthusiastically, okay? I'm just skipping this. Okay, when you look at this slide, this gives you a complete overview of how indispensable is cybersecurity at every business domain. You look at all the external domains, it is somewhere or other, it is actually impacting. So the first thing is all our business operations, commercial operations, even charitable operations have lot of risks from the security standpoint, from the data security standpoint. And also a lot of disruptions happen, disasters happen, crises happen, right? So we need to have a very strong cyber resilience as well. What earlier we used to call as business continuity and disaster recovery, now we use an umbrella term called cyber resilience. So minimum downtime, you would be able to come back online and continue providing services, continue running your operations. Now, technology aspects have impact on the law, right? Today, we hear a lot of stuff about how government of India is actually putting new IT rules to regulate social media content, and we know they're developing news around Twitter. So all these controls are actually impacting, the cyber world, and the security of consumer data is very important. And cyber crimes is actually is as old as the in the initial stages in the 70s, we had minor viruses that was more looked as a nuisance. Today, the kind of malware that has, metamorphosed into ransomware is scary. It just locks out the network, and then, you need to pay a ransom. So literally, you are at the mercy of the hackers and the cyber criminals. So it's become all the more scary. Then we know about the Internet of Things. The offshoot is the security of things. How secure all these IoT devices and sensors and so on and so forth. And we all keep hearing about different websites getting downed by hacker groups. In effect, all these hacker groups are backed by different countries, so openly they will not admit. All nation state sponsored. So that's where the cyber wars keep happening. Even the government of India has authorized the Indian Army armed forces to have a cyber command, right? So all these things are happening today. So 15 years back, when we were, if anyone is going to talk about all these things, it looked like a science fiction movie. But all of that, we thought it was only possible in a sci-fi movie. It's happening right now. Critical infra protection, auto critical infrastructure, your power grid, your dams, your railways, okay, your nuclear plants. These are all critical infrastructure. Last year, I'm not sure how many of us followed the news that there was a blackout in Mumbai, and the analysts, cyber security analysts, they attributed the blackout to the handiwork of a advanced APT group, advanced persistent threat group, or a hacker group to China. So that is a possible capability of these hacker groups to actually cripple entire city. And of course, privacy is paramount today, data privacy. Indian government also has come up with a, its own law, almost mirroring GDPR. In certain cases, it's much better than GDPR. Today, if you go to even a supermarket to buy a 5 rupee item, you cannot come out without giving your mobile number to the cashier. The billing clerk will definitely ask for your number. Only after you give your number, they will generate the bill. So question is, what happens to your mobile number? The moment you part with your mobile number, you receive a lot of junk calls, spam calls, a lot of SMSs, WhatsApp, even IVR calls you get. You think it's an important call, you pick up, then an automated voice is giving you advertisement. So it's become so bad. So it's not a question about content, it's about consent. Even without my consent, people are misusing. So that's the reason world over a lot of prominence is given to data privacy of customers, of consumers, and many countries have enacted strong, stringent privacy laws, data privacy laws. GDPR came into being in 2018. After that, a lot of awareness around how corporations handle private data of individuals. And in India also, you have the Indian Personal Data Protection Bill, which is soon going to be passed in an act, right? So all these things are evolving as we speak, and we hope cybersecurity actually matures and protects data and infrastructure. Now, coming to the evolution in the olden days, say in the 1970s, it was called computer security, and then it became IT security. In major part of the 90s, it was called data security. Then in the 2000s, it was called information security. And with the advent of cloud technologies, where we started adopting usage of internet in big way, not just to browse, even to transmit data, store data, right? So even to do business over the internet, entire e-commerce, the term became cyber. It included cyber so that it is more meaningful. It became cybersecurity. And tomorrow we don't know what it is going to be called. It could be called digital security. We never know, right? And this evolution almost mirrors what you see below diagram, the cybersecurity attack methods and the vectors, right? So it's just mirroring that. Now the touch points. There are multiple touch points for cybersecurity as a domain. It is not just the technology aspect as we all would imagine. It has got to do with society, right? We have social media that has come in a big way, right? We all adopted social media very eagerly. And today we'll find very few people who don't have, at least among the younger generation, who are not in social media. I'm sure in this crowd, almost everyone would be having either Instagram or a Facebook account or a Twitter account, right? So it impacts big way on security. It actually impacts the society, right? Then we talked about cyber warfare, all these flashpoints where you have, now today's world, we talk about the axis of evil, right? Iran, North Korea, and China are known as the axis of evil as far as cyber attacks are concerned. So most of the attacks originate not just from them, but also from US, Russia, India, Pakistan, Israel, Palestine, wherever you have flashpoints in the real world, that actually has a counterpart in the online world, in the cyber world. And we talk about AI, all these emerging technologies, right? RPA, AI, blockchain, ML, machine learning, all of them have repercussions on cybersecurity. The question is, are they really secure, all these technologies? Immersive wearables. So we all have all the smart watches, which monitors your health parameters from heartbeat to pulse to blood pressure, whatnot. So all these things are, can you just imagine how they have to be secure in protecting the functionality of the device and also the data it carries, right? And today, healthcare is a very much targeted industry because the amount of data you have. Not only that, even the devices have to be protected. Or expensive, sophisticated medical devices like MRI scanners, CT scanners, digital X-rays, all these things have to be protected. We have standards for them. We have teams. Large companies invest a lot in hiring the right team, right tools to protect the device, so it cannot be hacked or compromised in any way. Imagine if a pacemaker is compromised and it will lead to loss of life. It actually impacts life. So the question is, it's just not about protecting your identity, protecting data, or in the case of a banking and financial institution, not about protecting money, but actually protecting lives, right? So even in the industry I work currently, I work for a global automobile major. The cars, the latest modern cars are fully sophisticated, and they have hundreds of computers on board, right? We have ECU module, OBD ports, BCM module, all of them. A lot of IoT sensors are built, right, to monitor your car performance, functionalities, your fuel consumption, so on and so forth. Literally, they are data center on wheels. So that's in this scenario, your cars, if they are hacked, what will happen? It will actually put life in danger. People cannot control cars. And we have seen in real world how big brands cars have been hacked, and what kind of results they produce. So cars also have to be produced. It's no longer the olden cars where just four wheels and one steering wheel car. And today's cars are so sophisticated actually. So that also impacts cybersecurity impacts. Just like you have a SOC in normal organization, in automobile companies, we have vehicle SOC that keep monitoring so many parameters to ensure the threats are not actually compromised, and they don't compromise and create issues, right? So I think with this, I just stop here, take a pause for a poll, online poll. Over to you, Kaushik.
So yeah, guys, we're just gonna have a quick poll. It's on your screen right now. It's about cyber crimes. Do you think these are borderless crimes? Do you think they don't need deep technical skills to execute? Rewarding but illegal, or all of the above?
Guys, last 5 seconds for a poll.
Yeah, I think 67% of them have answered. Ram sir, over to you.
Okay, awesome. I think folks are pretty familiar with cyber crimes. That gives me a lot of confidence. Good. So let me resume. Okay, you can see the screen. Can anyone confirm? This is a cyber domains, slide. Kaushik, you're able to see?
Yes, yes, sir. We can
Yes,
see.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome. So this slide gives you a complete picture of all the domains available in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is not just technical, it goes beyond technical, it goes into management, it goes into leadership, right? And in this slide, let us take the core one. So at the base of this of cybersecurity is the risk management function, enterprise risk management. Because any organization, be it commercial or otherwise, will have inherent risks. So how do you, the whole premise of cybersecurity as a domain is about de-risking your business, right? So you have to have a strong risk management program that actually has all these elements in this, including your cyber resilience, crisis management, your audits, right? All of them. Then comes your risk assessments, where you do the risk monitoring, penetration testing, vulnerability scanning, then social engineering, simulation, third-party, audits, and so on and so forth. Then you have a domain called application security. So when you develop applications, be it a mobile app or otherwise, it has to be secure. So in application security, it's all about building in your security into the development process, into the software development process, whether it is a traditional waterfall method or the latest agile process. we have to inbuild security. It's not that you develop the application and later in the testing phase, you are going to look for security. That's not going to work. The idea is to develop securely, deploy securely, and maintain securely. So you have a lot of tools that does the secure code reviews. So we train the developers, the coders, how to write code in a secure way so that there is no weakness which could be exploited by hackers, right? And it undergoes the coders and developers undergo secure code training, and then they code it. Then along the way, it will be tested for security loopholes and security robustness. In secure code testing, you have very good tools, commercial tools available in the market, and people who specialize in this domain, it's one of the fastest growing skills, right? So that is one evergreen, evergreen domain, application security. Then you come down below to the green one, that is governance. This is at the top of the pyramid. It's all about management and leadership. So the executive management is more concerned about how they manage the external regulatory requirements depending on the industry they operate, and depending on the law of the land. Every government has their own security requirements, right? And also company internal governance in terms of whether they have policies, procedures, and other documentation. How are they monitoring and measuring? Do they have security metrics, dashboards, what kind of reports, KPIs, KRIs, all of them, right? And you have technical domains like threat intel, okay, how external and internal threat intelligence can be leveraged to protect your infrastructure, protect your data, and all your crown jewels. Then comes your training and user education. There's no point saying we have very good policies, we have procedures, but none of the end users or the employees know about it. They have to know and they have to follow. So you have all these user education initiatives, tabletop exercise to envision some scenarios and follow them, right? And your security operations center, SOC, that's what we call security operations center. So your SOC will have your teams that will be monitoring through tools like SIEM and SOAR. Then you'll have your incident response team. They'll use different methodologies, blue team, red teaming exercises. Then to do some sort of investigations into incidents, you need to have a forensics team, right? So all of this will come in here. Then in the top, you have the frameworks and standards depending on the industry and the kind of framework you adopt. You have to have knowledge on any of these, more of these standards and frameworks. Then career development, that's very important because cybersecurity is not, you just can't get one degree or do one training program, you become an expert. It's a lifelong activity to learn because the domain is very vast and evolving, very dynamically it is changing week by week, right? So you have to keep yourself updated by attending training programs, attending webinars, conferences, do some certifications, right? Peer groups, you be part of peer groups, and also look up to some mentors who can help you, in your learning journey, and do a lot of self-study. Then in the top, you have the security architecture. So you need to use a lot of tools, and also your cloud adoption is big time today. Your identity access management is very critical, and cryptography, encryption, data loss prevention, all these tools, everything will come into the architecture and engineering. So this is the whole view of cybersecurity, different domains, and each of this domain can spawn off a separate career path for people who pick up one domain, right? And the allied domain for cybersecurity is the data privacy, and that is also coming up in a big way. For data privacy, the base is cybersecurity. With all these tools in place only, then you can actually run your privacy program. But the orientation is more towards protecting data from, from the privacy perspective. So I think with this, I take a pause for a quiz. Over to Kaushik.
Yes, sir. So, yep, we got another quiz coming up. Crime as a service is a reality in today's cybercrime market. True, false, partially true, none of the above.
Is the poll completed, Kaushik?
Yes, sir, the last 5 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, poll is over, sir.
59% of them have answered true. And so it's over to you.
Okay, thank you. So cybercrime, as a service is a reality actually in the cybercrime market. Just like you can hire goons to do the hit job for you, you don't have to be very, very technically smart. You can just use these cyber criminals who offer services. That's how most cyber attacks take place. The person who's actually indulging in cyber espionage or cybercrime hacking actually is one person. The person who's actually keying them up is someone different. He may not be technically smart. Okay, so I think let me go ahead with the presentation. So this slide gives you an idea about what skills are the top growing skills in the next few years. So at the top, you have application development security. I spoke about the application security domain. So that's fast growing because the number of apps that are developed is mind boggling. So you know how many apps get listed in Play Store or even enterprise applications that get flooded in the market. For all of them, there is a lot of awareness on security. Not only awareness, it's a compliance requirement. Many countries have stringent requirement on how the applications should be secure. Then of course, cloud is growing in a big way. Cloud adoption is very high, especially in the pandemic times, right? Then the risk management, threat intel, all the technical domains come. And as you see this last one below, the security strategy and governance, that's growing a little less, but nevertheless, it's it's a very niche area. Only leadership folks actually specialize in that, right? And obviously, they being in the top of the pyramid, you won't have too many opportunities. But nevertheless, it is also an important area. Okay, I think with this, I take a pause for a program announcement. Over to you, Kaushik.
Sir, I will introduce the program. So, hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes, yes. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Ram Kumar Rai, and I'm the co-founder and the program director at AntWak. Right. So, this gives me a very immense pleasure to introduce our program to you. Right. So, AntWak, as we have told earlier, that earlier we have introduced a lot of experts, to tell about their experience, through the short video format, and we have continued the same mission of ours to bring the experts in their areas to everyone. And so we have continued this through a boot camp that we are going to launch, right? So that's why NTalk has launched an experiential program. Right. So this is a 16-week very immersive program where we are having the classes on the weekends. So the classes are scheduled such a way that we have one class on Saturday and we are going to have the two classes on Sunday. Right. Of the 16 16 weeks that we are teaching, right? So 12 weeks are totally dedicated to your core skills, right? But as you understand, in any professional career, right, it's not only important to have the core professional skills, but you also need to have a lot of soft skills, right? Because you will always need to crack interviews, right? You have to talk to your management, you have to write reports, you do presentations. So we are making sure that at least some part of this course is also devoted to improving your soft skills also, right? So that's the whole idea about the 16-week program. And the way we have divided this program is that all the experts that are going to teach in this program, they are coming from that very specific skill set, right? So we have divided this core program into 10 parts, right? And let's say one part will be is network security, right? The expert who is going to teach you network security is a network security expert, right? The similarly is the case with the web application security, right? The expert will be a person who is very good in network, in web application security, and they are going to come and teach in this program so that they can bring their own experience in the class, right? So that's how we have divided brought up this whole program. And in this program is again when you take this program, it will be a part of it will be your in-class teaching, where there's going to be interaction with the experts, but they're also going to be a real projects, right? And these projects are going to give you experience of how it is to work in an environment in a company, so that whenever you graduate, you are ready to be hired by a company. So we are trying to make sure that you have your hands on projects, your hands are dirty with the project, right? Please go to next slide, sir. So I will just give you a brief idea about what we are going to teach in this program, right? So it will start with introduction, which is going to be taken by Ram sir only, right? Then we'll move to network security, which is kind of a very basic of all the security operations, because this is where it starts. We will move into the cyber attacks, understand some kind of frameworks which you can use to analyze your own cyber stack, like cyber kill chain, MITRE frameworks, right? So that you get an idea about how to describe them, because trust me guys, I have talked to a lot of interviewers, people, recruiters, and they say that in case if you're able to explain about one very good cyber attack in a very good way, that's done, you are done for on your interviews, right? So that's why we are trying to bring some kind of understanding about how to analyze cyber attack, how to write their reports, right? And then we will have web application security, which is again kind of very core island. uh, and then we'll introduce the incident management, because most of the jobs which are happening in cybersecurity are going to be in SOC centers. So incident management becomes very important part of competency, right? So in all of these islands, you are going to have very full-fledged projects also, right? Then we are going to bring the digital forensics also, because this is also a growing area of expertise. Governance, risk, compliance, that will again be taken by Ram Kumar sir, right? We will also introduce you to identity and access management. You will not be able to work on any tools per se, because all of these tools on identity and access management are very proprietary, but we will give you the basic idea, so that at least in interviews when you join, you are aware of all the concepts of identity and access management. And you will give you'll get some idea about how to configure also identity and access management. We'll expose you to the cloud, uh, right? Because this is also a growing area. So one part that is not covered here, and which we have incorporated right now, is around the SIM tools, right? So in this course, we are going to also teach you about the Q radar, right? Because that's one area where the number of jobs are massive, right? There are like massive SOC operations are coming up across the country, and there is a huge requirement for L1 level people, to do the job. So keeping that one in mind, we have also included the SIM tool, an island of SIM, and we are going to teach you the Q radar. In India, Q radar is kind of the market leader in SIM tools, but we also have the Splunk. Right. So that's also we are going to so that once you have the idea about the Q radar, you can also get a job in that Splunk. So this is the whole idea about this program, right? And we have shared you a link right, you guys can go to that link, register, and somebody, some educational counselor from our side will reach out to you. Right. Hope to see you guys in that program also. Right. Ram sir, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Ram. So, resuming, the way the cybercrime scenario has evolved, earlier it was in the 80s, it was done only by, students who want to show off, have some bragging rights that I was able to do this exploit, I was able to hack into, and then it became a sort of a criminal intent. They wanted to do wantonly, deliberately, they wanted to show off their technical skills, right? Then it became activism. They wanted to make a statement, primarily around some issue, and they were doing a lot of targeted attacks, right? Then it became an organized crime, like an organized syndicate. You had criminals ganging up, and they were targeting all these APT groups, hacker groups. They became like that. They do ransoming and make money. Then state sponsored. That's the most dangerous one, because nations have abundant resources to uh, deploy for mounting cyber attacks on rival countries or on big companies. Now, if you look at an economy of North Korea, it's a very, very poor country, but they have very strong cyber security attack capabilities through these APT gangs or hacker gangs, and they do a lot of ransomware attacks, and they ransom money. Unless you pay them in bitcoins, you will not be able to access your system. Right. So that's a worst thing that is happening. Countries themselves are actually having their own hacker groups, and it is becoming all the more sophisticated. And we are always two steps behind the cyber criminals, and it's a cat and mouse game. We are not able to keep up with, even with all the technology advancement in the cybercrime police. Still, we always are, one step behind. That's what people say. The cyber criminals have to be lucky only once, whereas we as defenders have to be lucky every time. Okay, so I think with that, if you look at this slide, it talks about how a dark web actually is organized. You have first the primary activities, which is about discovering the vulnerabilities, preparing to exploit them. So they use a lot of tools. Tools are available, and they deliver the exploit and activate the cyber attack. How they deliver? It could be embedding such exploits in software when they buy from illegal means, or counterfeit pirated software, or through mounting a phishing attack. Employees, they just don't know, they think it's a legitimate mail, they click the link and they actually download such exploits. Or the olden ways was to give free DVDs or free pen drives, flash drives. You connect it, it'll activate, right? Or simple, any sort of identity compromise they can do, assume an identity and get access to the network. And then you have the support activities. You have all these tasks and built into that. So one is on the attack operations, right? So how you actually benefit from the attack, and second is the hacker community that focuses on the human aspect, where they actually identify and recruit new hackers and train them. If you go to all these dark web chat rooms, you find a lot of chatter around, hiring people. A lot of kids, college kids, they are very keen. They come online and then they want to try it out. It's all illegal, right? It's all illegal. You get caught, then you have to serve jail time. Simple as that. As long as you're not caught, then life is cool, but it's illegal, right? Then they actually develop some sort of marketing and delivery for trading. They develop trading and they make money out of it. They do money laundering and stuff. So all these things are illegal stuff that is happening in the dark web, right? And they actually mapped out. This is by this Kaspersky has got its own internal team. Yeah, we all know Kaspersky is a great antivirus company from Russia. So they actually mapped out what are all the top 12 targeted countries, of which you find many of them in Asia, right? And also you see the top 10 targets, to governments, to banks, to telecom, to defense, military, IT companies, all of them are there. Then the significant threat actors, all these names are belonging to the hacker groups. I'm sure Lazarus you would have heard here and there, Death Stalker, all these things are all APD groups which actually are criminal enterprises supported sometimes by their own governments. Now, again, this slide is a spreadsheet from a cyber analyst. He had published this in his blog. What he says is he's picked up all the common hacker group name from originating from China. So you have about 24 names, right? Oh, sorry, 22 names. And for each of them, different vendors from CrowdStrike to Dell to Mandiant, FireEye, Symantec, Cisco, all of them have given names to track them. So even the cyber defenders, all these companies are also actually monitoring their activities. They give a name and then they also keep an eye on them, how the attack vectors are changing, what is the pattern, so that they can build their defenses more smartly. Now, this slide again gives you an idea about how what and all happens in the cyber crime world, right? So on the top you have how you have access brokers who actually access data, and they also have hardware for sale, phishing kits they make. They design phishing kit and they can deploy. Then ransomware also is created, right? So all these things and hosting infrastructure, your command and control center, all of it is set up. Then in the second phase, it's about your delivery, how they develop and they distribute through junk email, spam email, right? And the third is monetization, that is making money. The money through all these frauds and money laundering, and they do a lot of wire fraud, cryptocurrency, ransom payments and extraction. There are multiple ways through which they actually make money, right? And they also have hierarchy, just like a corporate entity has a hierarchy, even they also have a hierarchy. And all the script kiddies who are just they do what they are supposed to do will be at the lower end. Then as their skills are more and more sophisticated, they grow up in their hierarchy, right? And here you see the top 10 industries that are targeted. Again, different surveys give different views. This is just one survey that talks about how power companies, logistics, automobile, software companies, all of them are targeted. Then you have all the hacker groups which specialize in targeting a particular industry vertical, right? So these are all these things are documented, and but of course they keep evolving as the time goes, right? And cybercrime is going to cost 10 trillion by the year 2025, and this year it is going to touch the damages is going to touch $6 trillion. It's a mind-boggling number. Given the source as well, you can actually go and check it out, right? And as we saw, these numbers are very mind-boggling, right? Per hour, they are spending $684 right, on the damage cost for cybercrime, and this all for this year, current year. Okay, and this slide talks about the dark web, deep web, and the surface web. Surface web is what we all can search through a normal search engine like Google or Yahoo or Bing, whatever. It's all indexed. And deep web is actually your secure websites which they're not indexed actually. They don't index. Or you need to have some sort of digital paywall. Like there are a lot of news websites in the last 1 or 2 years, they started charging money. So for example, if you go to the Hindu website, monthly they give you some fixed number of free articles to read. After that, if you reach that number, say 10 articles, after that you have to pay. So they are called digital paywall. You have to pay for money, and then so that's all in the deep web. You won't be easily able to see like your PayPal or your online banking. They're all deep web. And your dark web is actually all your sites which are anonymous and you will not be able to access easily. You need to have special kind of browsers like the Tor, the Onion Router browser, and other sophisticated browsers. they do a lot of Bitcoin transactions and hidden wikis, and a lot of illegal activities happen. Per se, dark web is not bad, but the amount of illegal activity happens makes it look very bad. Okay, so again, this is another statistic. I just don't want to repeat the same. And the ransomware is actually becoming very lucrative for the criminals. Earlier in 2015, it was only $325 they were making. That was the damage and the cost. And now in 6 years, you are paying $20 billion. So it's mind-boggling numbers. So time for another poll. And after this poll, we'll have a little deep dive into the dark web. Over to you, Kaushik.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for that. This is the last poll of the day. Cybercrime is poised to touch dash number by 2021, $6 trillion, 16 trillion, $140 trillion, or none of the above.
We just saw this slide. I'm sure you should remember.
Yes, so we have closed the polling now.
Okay, thank you. I think only 39% are paying attention to the slides. Okay. Okay, that was in jest. So we'll take a look at these three web: surface and deep and dark web. So surface, as I said, whatever you can find in via search engine, give keywords and you'll be able to find, or you type the URL in the address bar, you will be able to get. Deep web you cannot find on a search engine, so they'll they'll not be indexed actually. And dark web is actually a small part of deep web, and they have been intentionally hidden and only accessible by another type of web browser, something like the Tor, right? And here you get some statistics here. Only 4% of content is available in the surface web, that is the World Wide Web. You'll see a lot of these iceberg pictures in this presentation. I think another 3 or 2. Then the 90% of the content is available, information available in the internet is in the deep web, and the rest of it is in the dark web, which you will not be able to easily access. So balance 6%. So in the dark web, you find a lot of info on drug trafficking, pornography, human trafficking, encrypted sites, and a lot of illegal stuff, illegal marketplace, underground marketplace. What and all should not happen, everything happens in the dark web. But of course, all the top security agencies in the world, like FBI, CIA, and Mossad, everyone have an eye there. They also go masquerading as a cyber criminal, and so that they can keep an eye. So recently we saw a news item in abroad. They actually police arrested, Interpol arrested some 300 plus hackers, right? So they were all part of the hacker groups, and the FBI had actually supplied them phones which had surveillance software. They were actually tracked for their conversations and activities. And all these things are happening. It's again a cat and mouse game. Who gets the better of each other, only time will tell, right? So in dark web, as I said, even for countries, there are countries which do not allow Facebook for whatsoever political reason. So they have even a Facebook version that is a Tor. Through Tor, people are able to actually access here, right? And what kind of information types are available is malware, exploitation kits, credit card info, a lot of stolen credit card info or credit card info that has been breached. All of them are available there for a price, of course, okay? And login credentials. For example, all these sites you see here from Sony to Ashley Medicine, JP Morgan, AOL, eBay, all of them are available. Login credentials are available, right? Files for sale, lot of documents, scam tools like your phishing kit and ransomware kit, all of them is available. Then tutorials, you want to learn some illegal stuff, how to do hacking with live tools and all, they teach. I have friends who are part of they are ethical hackers, but still they keep an eye what's going on in the dark web. Dark web, as I said, per se is not a bad place. You can still go and come back safely. So they go to all these chat rooms and they find a lot of Pakistani hackers. They say those guys can't even speak two sentences in English, but they're very good at teaching the tools, how to deploy these tools, and you can just use it for hacking into websites, hacking into networks, or even phones, monitor them, get the data without even the owners and the companies knowing that they are actually compromised. And insider threat for hire. This is again a big business. Insider threat is nothing but your own employees. You work in an organization for whatsoever reason, either you are disgruntled or you want to take revenge or you want money, you sell company insider information. So there are a lot of people who are available for hire. So it's a very bad state of affairs. And as I said, this cybercrime as a service is actually reality. And dark web services, as I said, all of this is available. You know, even the vaccines are available. Some of them are fake and some of them are illegally procured. The vaccine could be genuine, but they have been taken out of the manufacturer or from the supplier or from a hospital where it was stocked. And those stock will have made its way into the dark web folks, and those fellows are actually minting money selling them. Okay, you get drugs, you have carding sites which sell a lot of card information. Again, the market is very wide. There are certain stuff like doxing of VIPs. Doxing is actually a term where sensitive information, private information of VIPs like celebrities are actually taken out and published. So you want to know, sometimes they'll be publishing the private Twitter chats or Instagram pictures which are not publicly available, or the phone numbers, right? Email IDs of all actors, actresses, industrialists, or sports folks, right? Sports persons. All of them are completely available in the internet. So that's called doxing. Then you can see everything as a service. Whatever you want, DDoS as a service. Then you have vulnerability as a service, right? Then credential stuffing tools. So for example, we how many of us use different passwords for different websites? It's very difficult. I have three bank accounts, five credit cards. All of them have online accounts. I have one mutual fund, one loan account, four email IDs. Okay, of which one is the official email ID. So many passwords I need to bother, and we always reuse the password. We use the same password everywhere, right? Almost like 2 3 passwords we keep circulating. The risk there is, if one password gets compromised, then it's easy for the hacker to actually use the same password in all other authentication sites, right? Wherever the authentication is happening. So that's what is called credential stuffing. So that's very risky. That's why we always suggest never use the same password. Use passwords, different passwords for a different thing. So there is no single point of compromise, right? So you should use tools like LastPass or any password manager where you can actually install in your mobile phone or in your laptop and have a personal personal password manager. So any changes in your online account for passwords, go and change it in this tool, this utility. Or all you need to remember is one master password. Don't ever forget that. Okay, and here for all of them is available for rent. You can see the rates as little as $100, $6 a month. You get all of this for different crimes if these things are available. And everything is on sale: malware, exploitation kits, droppers, money mules, infrastructure, spammers. Spamming by default is not a bad thing, but as I said, the consent is not there. If you could be a genuine company, you are marketing some service or a product. So you are selling a product, okay? You are selling some cosmetic product. I may not be interested in that product, or I may be interested, but you are without my consent, you are sending me those products. So that's about the spammers. It's a nuisance, right? So all of these are available for a rate. Even SMS also you can send. So I hope all of this will change for the better with the introduction of the new PDP Act by the government. I don't know when that's going to happen. And you have it's all US centric data. That's why it's all available in dollar value, right? Driver license, your passports, all stolen passports, they end up there. Where? All this dark market, right? So you should be extremely careful when our data is not at all secure, right? And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. The personal data that we all have with us, everything is getting traded. And this is again from the recent past, how personal data of 533 million Facebook users were leaked on the dark web. So you can go and check this site. And even WHO is warning about fake vaccines available on dark web. I was just telling how vaccines can be misused, either fake or genuine, but all of them are actually being traded. Now, this is healthcare information is very, very valued in the dark web, dark market, because you get a lot of insights into the patient's insurance fraud. It can do credit card fraud, and you can get illicit prescription drugs. You can blackmail. Think of ideally the healthcare information, medical records are very personal. If you hack into a hospital network or an insurance company, you can get all of that, right? So that is very risky. And US and all has got a very good regulation or called HIPAA for protecting healthcare information. Unfortunately, India doesn't have, we don't have that kind of maturity to protect information, right? So your PII, what we call as personally identifiable information, all these data is all very, very critical. You should never use them casually. Should be very, you should take a lot of precautions when you hand over this kind of data, right? So we all have different avatars, as parent, as citizen, as employees, consumers, so on and so forth. And each of them have their own personal information. Now you may ask, that is fine, but only hackers have our data? No, even technology giants like Google, they know a lot about us. Every step we take, every word you say, every search you make, everything is actually monitored and they are monetized actually. So you look at Google's ecosystem, the amount of applications that we use, from Gmail to Google Photos to the browser Chrome, you Google search engine, shopping, everything has our data. So that's a sad state of affairs. And Google knows everything about us, the browsing we do in YouTube and the kind of movies we watch. You just store somebody's number, the next moment you will get info about that person in Facebook saying friend suggestion. That's very uncanny. And sometimes people say, I just had a conversation with my friend that I wanted to buy new shoes or new shirts. And the next minute I get advertisement, and I will go to the browser and try to browse something, I'm getting targeted advertising. So that is all the more scary, right? You see all these tech companies, I kind of have what kind of data they have on us, right? You see Facebook is the biggest culprit. They know everything about us, right? They even know our income level. And we thought income is very, salary information is very confidential, everything. And you look here at this side, it gives you all the companies which have what kind of data. Again, Facebook tops the list, right? And with this, I would want to conclude this presentation. We're just on time. It was a very funny take. My wife asked me why I spoke so softly in the house. I said I was afraid Mark Zuckerberg was listening. She laughed, I laughed, Alexa laughed, Siri laughed. That's a very sad state of affairs. So I wish you all the best, and I wish you have a rocking career in cybersecurity if you choose to. And make no mistake, cyber security as a career is very viable. It is not a latest fad, management fad, or technology fad. As long as technology is around, you're all, need to have a secure environment, secure technology. So please make a wise choice. AntWak has got very good syllabus. All the islands that you saw is very relevant, very practical for launching your job career. So definitely take advantage. And one thing I want to emphasize, all the trainers, experts who come are all industry practitioners. Despite, with due regards, with due respects to all the academic folks, if you join a traditional college or a university, they may not have the perspective because cybersecurity is a very, very hands-on domain. So all industry practitioners come and teach you. So please make advantage of AntWak's offerings and sign up fast, and don't delay. And it's a lifelong journey. It's not that one training program or one course will help you. It is going to launch you on a lifelong learning. Even now, I learn, I invest in myself, and ensure I'm up to date. Okay. So wish you all the best and thank you.
Thank you, Ram sir.
Thank you, Ram sir, for the amazing session. And I'm pretty sure there was quite a lot of things that we learned, and there are quite a few things. So people who still are remaining the session, I strongly encourage you to take up the boot camp. Ram sir is going to be delivering 2 topics, and every island is going to have an expert on the topic. So you're going to be learning from being there, done that professionals. And trust me, the way they're going to pave things out for you is going to be much more amazing. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of this wonderful session. And we have much more events coming up in the near future. So would request you to just head to our AntWak job board page, wherein we constantly keep updating about these events. And you can also alternatively click on the link for the registration, because we're running a promotional offer of 5,000 rupees flat discount using Ram sir's promotion code. So I'd strongly encourage you to go for it, right? Ram?
Yep, that's it for now. Thank you guys. Thanks again. Probably we'll have a few more sessions coming up. I think tomorrow also we have a session on cybersecurity skill chain. Hope to see you guys again there.